What's up everyone? Welcome back to Broke Man Finance. NIO stock has seen some crazy growth this year. In today's video, we're breaking down their recent earnings reports and talking about some recent news updates that's really helping drive this stock. Just to give you an idea of how explosive NIO has been, they IPO'd back in September of 2018 and their 1 year growth is around 600%. Their year to date in a 6-month range is hovering right around 380%. And their month growth so far is right around 60%. Now we all know there's so much hype and volume concerning electric vehicle stocks these days. We see Tesla, we see Nikola, we see Hyllion, we see NIO, the list goes on and on. So it's easy to look at a company like NIO and see their stock has increased so much and say, well, that stock's just overvalued, or it's so much hype on it because of the hype and the volume that's driving the stock price up. However, NIO has been increasing their overall sales and bringing in more revenue, which we're going to talk about, that has contributed to one reason their stock price has went up. In the second quarter of 2020, NIO reported a sales of over 10,000 units. The year-to-year date was around 170% growth, and their quarter compared to quarter was around 112% growth. In July alone, NIO reported a sales of over 3,500 vehicles, which is their highest month or delivery month ever to date. In addition, the cumulative deliveries of total vehicles for the first 7 months of this year was over 100% compared to the same time last year. Since October 2019, the ES6 has been ranked on one of the most top selling electric SUV vehicles across the entire country of China. And for the first half of this year, the ES8 has achieved the #1 sales category for all mid to large size luxury electric vehicles in China as well. Here's one of the biggest pieces of news that's really helped drive the stock up, and it's overall great news for the company. In quarter 2 alone, they reported a sales growth of $535 million, beating expectations for around $33 million. This has some analysts estimating that they will achieve over $600 million for quarter 3 earnings if they keep the same sales pattern as compared to quarter 1 and quarter 2. Now, a lot of people call NIO the Tesla of China. Although they are making great strides in achieving that title, they have a long way to go. Like we mentioned before, the quarter 2 sales was over 10,000 units. However, at the same period of time, Tesla had over 90,000 units sold and delivered worldwide. So although finances and earnings reports and sales reports are a great motivator for stock and it keeps driving this company up as they make their sales goals, they're also achieving other milestones that kind of don't get mentioned as much as the quarter 2 earnings reports. And that is the battery swap stations. NIO is reporting that they have now changed over 500,000 batteries in 58 cities across China. Now, back when they first started, NIO was one of the pioneers on installing battery swapping stations for the long journeys where the plug-in station wasn't as dominant or wasn't as prevalent as you see in the United States, where a lot of cities have adopted to the battery charging stations for EV vehicles. NIO had implemented over 131 swapping stations across China, which was a huge selling incentive as a consumer, because not only could you buy the car and be open to charging at your home or your place of business, if you were across country or traveling throughout the country, you had options to choose over 131 swapping stations that were spread out on the major highways. On a little side note, this is something that Tesla was going to implement years ago, and it never really gained traction. I think one reason is because in the United States, with the access to electricity, pretty much everyone's houses, and as governments have been starting to renovate or build new government complexes, you see EV charging stations pretty much everywhere. So really they didn't have the need in the United States for the battery swapping stations as compared to China. But this is a great news, a great milestone for NIO as a company moving forward. Now, a few days ago, NIO did do another offering of shares, and this was up for 75 million shares in a way to bring in more capital to the company. NIO is self-reporting that they did this in order to bring in more capital, and as well as to buy back some minority share ownerships that were out, so that way they can have a little more control of the company and really kind of control their vision moving forward as they're establishing their brand in China and in the future across the world. Now, depending on who you ask, if you Google this or you go on any type of Reddit threads when it talks about offering more shares, some people say, well, this dilutes the company's ownership, this is a bad sign. And some people say, hey, overall, it's just a way for bringing more capital, bringing more money for the company. And it's a good thing for the company moving forward, because obviously the more capital we have, the more research, the more development you can do, and you can get that brand out to increase those sales, then bring in more revenue on the back end. Overall, from an investor standpoint, I still like this company, and I think they're moving in the right direction. They've increased their sales, which is increased their revenue. They're beating expectations, and now they're forecasted to even beat those expectations moving into Q3. This company is very similar to Canoe and Workhorse, where they have a lot of upside potential. We're not talking about how much debt, asset to liability ratio they have, but they're showing that they're increasing and people are buying into the brand, which is what we want to see as a long-term growth stock. Keep in mind, NIO is, yes, they are involved in the American stock market, but they're not selling NIO electric vehicles in the United States or Europe as of yet. They're in a market of China, which has over 1.3 billion people. They are in such a huge market to attract consumers and build that brand as a Tesla China, that once that brand gets started, and they start expanding into Europe and to the United States, this company has so much potential just because they have such a consumer market compared to Tesla or Workhorse or Canoe, where right now in the United States, you're facing 350 million people. Guys, let me know in the comment section if you're a fan of NIO, if you've recently purchased NIO, if you have NIO, or if you're holding or selling NIO. I'd love to hear your thought process and your strategy facing this company. And as always, thanks for watching the video, and stay safe.